Hi, I'm Michelle Hill from Teacher Sparks, and today I am really excited because we're going to talk with John Meehan, hey John, how are you?
I'm great.
Going to talk about a really creative way to introduce the syllabus. So John, why don't you explain a little bit about your role and where you're located?
Sure. So I'm John. Hi. I work here in Arlington, Virginia, in just outside of Washington, D.C., in a private Catholic school named Bishop O'Connell High School. We are located just outside of our nation's capital, and we have about 1,100 students.
Wow.
I'm an English teacher. That's my first and foremost, my first love. And I work also as our school's instructional coach. So we have 102 full-time faculty, and that's sort of like my second set of classes, right? So I teach 2 sections of American Lit, and then I work with our faculty on best practices in education. Student engagement is a big driver for me, and ways to get students really doing the work every day. So all the stuff we hear about, all the buzzwords on Twitter, like actually how to see it come to life in the classroom setting.
Yeah, student engagement is a really hot topic, but it's also, you can't do anything if you don't have your students engaged. You can't move past, the basic things that you want to teach in your class if they're not engaged.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sorry, but what I always say is, like, we don't teach content, we use content to teach people.
Exactly. You took the words right out of my mouth, which was, I don't teach a content area or a curriculum, I teach students.
Yep. And
that's really important. So I was on Twitter, which is amazing because I'm like never on Twitter.
You're missing out. It's where it's at. I
was just kidding. Anyone who follows me knows that I am really addicted. But it's because I find incredible resources, strategies, ideas. And so I was talking about opening day and how to make it different. And it was actually in a chat, and we were talking about, what do you do during the first day of school or the first week of school? And I came across your Twitter post, your tweet that talked about a syllabus that turned into a game. So can you tell us about it?
Yeah, you bet. So I'm going to do some name dropping, and I do a lot of reading, so I apologize. It's sort of in my blood here. But Dave Burgess, who wrote the great book, Teach Like a Pirate, talks about this.
Who was just on Teacher Sparks last week, by the way.
Amazing. Great minds think alike. So you've ever had a chance to talk to Dave or see his presentations? Like, he really is a force of nature. He just leads with that enthusiasm. I say in my class, your enthusiasm is infectious. If we are jazzed about it, if we're excited about it, students can't help but lean in and say, I want to know more about what that looks like. Right. And so I take real inspiration from his book, as well as Doug Limov's book, Teach Like a Champion. So those two are like sort of the yin and yang of great classroom management and student engagement. But Dave's book talks about, in the very first days, he does like a desert island scenario. He pretends they're on like life rafts, and they have them, solve a puzzle of like, what elements would you bring onto your life raft as this ship is sinking? And the big secret is, I hope no students are listening, it doesn't matter which things you put on the raft. He wants to watch you metacognitive. He wants to watch why you do it. And that's before I had read Dave's book, that was a big piece of my classroom approach as well. I just want to see the kids actively doing stuff. But about a year ago, I made the switch to a fully gamified classroom. And that's largely on the heels of having read a bunch of stuff in education, particularly Greg Topo's book, which is called The Game Believes in You: How Digital Play is Making Our Kids Smarter. At the time, he was working as the national education reporter for USA Today. Now I think he's the executive editor for the Chronicle of Higher Education. So like he knows his education stuffs. So that, and coupled with Michael Matera's book, which is published by Dave Burgess, it's called Explore Like a Pirate. And it really is like the brass tacks of gamification in a classroom, which is a fancy way of just saying taking the things that make games fun and making it happen in your classroom. So all of that stuff kind of comes together like a Franken puzzle. And my first day of school, I said, cool, what can I do that makes my first day feel not like death by syllabus and awkward 2 truths and a lie icebreaker? Like, hi, my name is Adam, and I'm bringing apples to our picnic. Like, okay. I mean, we've all been there, but the thing is, our kids have been there too, and they've been there 6 times before they see our class. It's selfish and it's small, but like, I want my kids to go home about my class and be talking about it around the dinner table with their friends.
Absolutely.
Like with mom and dad, be like, oh man, the Meehan's class today, we blah, 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 blah. Because if I can get them excited, if I can get them engaged, if I get them leaning in and doing meaningful work early, I can ride that momentum through weeks worth of instruction. And that's kind of how my vision for the document came together. So this summer, I attended a conference on gamification. It was at George Mason, and they do the Serious Play conference. It happens, I guess, every summer. And they invite all these really great speakers who come in all over the world. And I apologize again for the name dropping. I'm just trying to give context.
That's okay.
But I had a chance to take part in to get certified as a gamification, for whatever that means. It means that I had some free time and a little bit of money to spend. But I got level 1 certified through the program directed by Monica Cornetti. And she's a big name in gamification, corporate training, things like that. So I was very happy to have a chance to get some face time with her. I had heard her on a couple of podcasts, seen her on a couple of vlogs, and so it was really great to get a full day training with. And we, as our level 1 certification, as the culminating activity, had to design a game. And I was like, well, cool, I'll just do what I'm doing in my classroom and throw a new coat of paint on it. And let's see what I'm doing next is, I got a syllabus coming up. Can I make a game out of the syllabus? And that's pretty much how it started. I was like, I want my kids to jump into my year feeling that same level of excitement as I make the whole year feel like. I tell my students, and it is like edu like kind of jargon, but I say that your favorite class is the one you like the most, but your best class is where you learn the most. If we all do our jobs right, this class is going to be both of those things. And I wanted to honor that on day 1. So it's not like death by syllabus. It's not like let's go around with rules, procedures, consequences. Like, we'll figure it out. Let's get into the good stuff.
That was one of the things that I had said is that at the high school level, students have 8 classes, and they go in and they can predict that they're going to hear about the syllabus. They're going to hear about what they cannot do in class. They're going to hear about all the things that they need to do. And they go home, they're exhausted, and they think to themselves, this is going to be a long year. And so I never wanted that to be the case for myself. And I would do different activities to get to know my kids and build what I called a family. So when I saw this, I thought, wow, that takes it up even another notch. That's even another level. But it was great that you had professional development that actually turned into something that you could use in the classroom, because that doesn't always happen as well.
No, and I can tell you as an instructional coach, we're all exposed to a lot of PD, and the data bears out that most of it's pretty bad. I'm not trying to be indelicate. I think that's the worst kept secret.
We have to change that. So I know that you said that they go through 10 challenges, and it becomes something that, can you just real quickly talk about those challenges?
Yeah, so my year-long game, I call it Dream Rush. And the idea is that they're rushing towards the American dream. In American literature class, we have 400 years of content to cover. That is insane. I move at about 10 years covered in an average week of a 36-week class, which is a zoo. We start at Puritan times and earliest settlers. We talk about first Americans, Native Americans, Pilgrims, and then we work all the way through 1950s and 60s drama by the end of the school year. So it's a rush. And again, I like that idea. That's the theme of the game. So my teams from the beginning of the year, I split them into 4 tribes, like a game of Survivor, because that's like a master class of how to get people engaged. It has nothing to do with education, but it's amazing. So I split them into 4 teams, and we call them wagon trains. And then they're with their wagon train team for the whole year, like a big old Oregon Trail, where they're exploring the settler community of X, and then they're moving into the town of Y, or they're learning about the people of Z. And likewise, all the bad things we know too, about like what we did with the land and what we did to the people. Like, it's an empathy building exercise, because they are building as teams coming together as they kind of move across this Oregon Trail type story narrative. So the vision is, if this is a year-long wagon train, what would be the first thing you do? Well, you'd hit up the depot and you'd say, okay, guys, we got X number of minutes. Let's load up our carts with all of the stuff we'll need for the year. So I use that kind of marching orders, that jumping off idea with, okay, I need them to do all sorts of stuff in my class. If you're a 21st century classroom teacher, you got to get them to sign up for text alerts. You got to get them to log into your LMS. You got to get them to sign your syllabus and do a little profile about who they are, or take a survey about, their interests, what they like outside of school. I get to learn things like there's a game called Fortnite that kids love. And when I learned that it's not a game called Fortnite, it's Mr. Meehan, come on, it's Fortnite, like it's a thing. So it helps me very early to know who they are. So I'm like, okay, I need all that stuff early. So I took those things that otherwise would have been like the mark in time, and I said, great, split them into 10 centers. Each of the centers is themed around a thing you would grab at a depot. So you grab like the wagon wheel, and grab a horse team, grab a rope or an axe, hand tools, or a barrel. All the things you could think to stash into order to kind of stow the wagon. And each of those deliverables then has a small work product attached to it. So the idea would be, hey, the axe is like well sharpened, it could save you if you're in the woods. In our class, you have to stay sharp. So if you could, head to padlet.com and upload a video or an image of yourself saying hi with like a quick description of who you are as a person. So I get a little bit of that face. And what I did is I split them into 5 wagon trains for this first game. And it allows me more face time individually to work with the kids while they're bouncing around all these different stations through the classroom. The only rule is before you move from a station, everyone in your team has to have completed that station's deliverable. So one could be like a work product that's like a sketch note. What does a great classroom look like? Annotate 10 details in the sketch note about what you want a great classroom year to look like. When you're done, take that sketch note and pass it in to me so I spot check as they're moving through. But then that much faster, I have a room full of 25 kids, and I've broken it down to a class size of 5 because I'm getting all that face time one-on-one. Likewise, trusting that the kids in the other part of the room are filming a flip grid where they're saying a story about what their goals for the year are. And maybe then for that, they're that's the driver of the team. They're getting the horse badge. So they've earned the ability to sort of load up their wagon train and then pull it forward. And all those things like signing up for text alerts, logging into the LMS. By just putting a little bit of a soft theme against it, now they feel a sense of autonomy. And it's a bit of it's an illusion because I still have 10 things that I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
But that first day feels like, all right, we're loading our wagons. We're good to go. So I come in, there's a hype video. I play that video. I'm like, you guys ready? This class is going to be both your best class and your favorite class. On your mark, get set. Let's roll. And there's no more teacher talk. I get to go around and be like, hey, as if I'm like, meet them at a party. I'm Mr. Meehan. Nice to meet you. What do you like? What are you up to? What are you into? And I have all those great work products that, like, who doesn't want to play that game? That's a great way to like, if you have to go into it, to go in and it feels like it's fun.
And you really hit on something that was probably maybe not the goal of the activity, because you were trying to make it fun and engaging, but you got to really know your students early on. Sometimes it takes teachers 3-4 months to get to know their students, to get to know something about them. So that face time was really, really important. Okay, so what was the biggest takeaway for the students?
Well, I mean, like, in fairness, this will be run for my real class first time on Thursday, so I will let you know afterwards.
Okay.
But it is echoing the same thing we've done at the year-long. I've done a lot with centers. I've done so much more this year with small group activities, and they're all gamified, so it's like compete to earn badges. Big trick is you still have to do all the work. It just feels like there's accomplishment. But immediately, I get faster feedback to students. So I can watch a writing sample in real time and then give them that on-the-spot feedback. They get more face time with me, which is great. Yeah. So they can feel a sense of kinship and camaraderie that I'm there with them. I want to see them succeed. So many times it feels like the teacher is the arbiter of all information and the choke point of, like, the right and the wrong answers. Like, I'm asking a whole bunch of softball questions early because I just want to get you talking. That is like a big thing in the gamified classroom, is modeling this idea of failure as like a first attempt in learning, unless reflection evident. Like, I'm trying to get them to take a risk, and I'm not particularly upset if they get it wrong. I want to see them cogniting and metacogniting and then talking to each other about why they're doing what they're doing. Likewise, those team bonds. I think as a student, that was the critical trend last year when I got my debrief surveys after each unit, like what's working and what's not. People play games because there's a sense of coming together as a group, and I don't know, it's just fun to have a common thing to talk about. We all as adults know that warm-up day with students, okay, we're going to go around and do an icebreaker, because you want them to feel like comfortable in your space. The faster I can get them feeling comfortable, and it's out of Dave Burgess's book too. He says, I'm not worried about catching a kid's attention. I can get anybody's attention, but I'm worried about losing momentum. Like, because if you can ride that momentum early, like, if you can get your kids to jump through hoops of fire if they believe in you. Yes. And I want them to see that I believe in them to that, and like a very real degree. Like, guys, I have 10 centers set up today. Please don't break stuff. But other than that, have fun, go. like, it's very Montessori, it's very Kagan, and it's all of the stuff that we know in good theory that we've known for 100 years, but traditional education has really stamped out in making things so, I guess, like factory model of, like, you know, rows and lectures. And it just makes sense to the classroom. So early, the kids they can't wait to say, all right, this is gonna be crazy, but I'm so in for it, because they don't know what's coming next. And that novelty factor, you can just ride that way.
Yeah, and two things that you mentioned that were really interesting to me. First off, Dave Burgess talked about homework. We talked about homework last week, and one of the things that we said was, you know, some things are just not going to be that fantastical. How do you get the kids to do it? And he said, make it a competition. Kids will do anything for a competition. So that was awesome. The other part of that is that it does build a team. And so in my classroom, I used to call it a family, but in your classroom, you call it a team. And that's so important that they belong to a team and that they feel connected with one another. And then probably the best thing that I like about this idea, and I can't wait to hear how it goes, is that you took a risk. So I'm going to put you on the spot, and this will be the last question that we have. But what would you say to some of those teachers who are very entrenched in traditional teaching ways, not just first day, but in general, about taking a risk and what happens if it doesn't work?
That's a good question. And it wasn't primed for this before I got here. So this is right on the spot. We're firing with live ammo. So I got a text message before we started. I have a friend who's teaching at the University of Maryland. He's working for his doctorate. He was a classroom teacher. He was an IB coordinator. He's decided to go back to the classroom. So I'll shout out, hi Dale. He texted me earlier because last week he said, so I saw your thing. I have a lot of questions. I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous. And I'm like, okay, and this is my thread. You can just see it message after message. I was like, don't do tangible rewards. That turns it into cost-benefit analysis. Take the risk that they're just playing the game for the sake of playing the game. He's like, oh, this is awesome. Thanks so much. I said, keep me posted. Oh, one more thing. Question after question. This is the text I got 10 minutes before we went live today. All capital letters. Epic day one. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, I didn't take photos or videos because it's the first day and we're in a college course and I don't know about the rules on that. But class ended with students literally shooting yellow foam dodgeballs into my arms and hitting my face as a basket. And he's like, I wanted them to go into it knowing that I'm okay to laugh with them and to learn with them. And though I know what has happened next, I'm still willing to say, look, we don't take ourselves so seriously. We take learning seriously.
Exactly.
And through that process, like, when was the last time, and I challenge any educator, and I do it in my work as an instructional coach, like, when was the last time we all say growth mindset, but Carol Dweck has published so much material about, like, false application of growth mindset. It's not just saying, you can do it, kids. It's like, where do we put ourselves in that place of vulnerability to lead with that vulnerability and say, look, this is hard. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, this might not work. But the reflection about what happens here will be just as important as whether it dies on the table or not. And for me, that is really empowering, because that's where, like, those unintended consequences help make your game of school that much more user-centric and, like, more designed with your students in mind. So I mean, like, it's sort of a cop-out answer, but, like, worst case scenario, you have something that was a lost day, but you can talk about why it died and what could have made it better, and then task the kids with, could we design a better one of this for next year? And now you have your day 2 activity. Like, I don't think anything is lost.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best part, is that you probably would have had that lost day if you went the traditional model anyway. Yeah. So this is an awesome way to start the year off. So I wish you a lot of luck. So if people are interested, I know right behind you on your whiteboard, you have your Twitter handle and your email address.
Yeah.
And you also have been very gracious to offer to share the syllabus.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Template for this game. So if anybody wants it, you can reach John at one of those 2 places. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's been a wonderful, wonderful conversation. So organic, but also so inspiring. So thank you so much for joining me today.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.